Okay, I think you can hear us.
Yes, yeah, we hear you. Happy to hear your voice.
Thanks for your
Jai
patience.
Prabhu, Raikishori, Didi, Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. That's why we're all here ultimately, right? We want to talk about the things that are most important and most dear to us. So I don't know if you want to start and say something first.
Just so I understand, the question is how do we meet Gurudev and maybe some story about Gurudev?
Something general, what you accept from Guru.
Uh-huh.
You and Guru.
Okay. I can, do we pause for like a translation or is it happening?
We have some simultaneous translation, so you can speak without pause.
Okay. Well, Dandavats, lovely to see all the devotees. Lovely to see your beautiful faces. There's nothing more like exciting and heartwarming for me to know that there's so many beautiful people all over the world pursuing the path of bhakti and the path of service to Mahaprabhu. So it's really amazing, really beautiful. What can I say? Srila Gurudev, Hare Krishna. So I guess I can just tell a little story. When I met Srila Gurudev, I was 19 years old. And we had come to California, and my mind was in different places. I could say I was mostly into playing basketball and listening to music and things like that. And the first day that we saw Srila Gurudev, he was actually coming out of the car. They were going to buy the land in Santa Cruz in SoCal. So we met him there, and that was the first time that I saw Srila Gurudev. And it was very emotional experience. For some reason, I don't understand, or it was not expected for me. My whole body, I just started crying and I was shaking and I was just very overwhelmed by seeing him, and my consciousness was changed very to a higher purpose, I can say. You know, some amazing just bolt of awareness by his grace. And in so many years, you know, he has taught us very, very affectionately, very calmly, very patiently, teaching us so many things about the very deep path of bhakti, to separate the external from the internal, the form from the substance, and to live a holistic life, not a life that is, okay, this is my Krishna consciousness here, now I go do my real life over here. Not like that. The whole life, all day, every day, try to serve the Lord, even in your job, even in your family life, no matter what you're doing. It must be one life, and one purpose, not two lives, and two purposes. One life, one purpose, and everything, everything for the Lord. You know, that's the ideal. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yat juhoti dadatiya. Bhagavad Gita is saying the same thing. Whatever you're doing, if you're sleeping, if you're eating, whatever it is, it must be for the Lord. So to bring that awareness into our life, to not separate our life into some kind of schizophrenic, you know, dualistic existence. I can say that is one of the great gifts of Srila Gurudev's teachings, and to try to see each day and each moment and each situation as a gift and an opportunity to progress on our spiritual path. Well, that's my small sharing.
So I'll kind of jump in. One verse that we sing in the Vandana prayers in the Kirtan guide, I find it very like beautiful and very hopeful. It goes, Shakala Vaishnava Pade Mor Namaskar, Ite Kichuya Purad, Nahukai Amar, Hoya Chen Hoi Ben Prabhu, Jato Bhakta Jan, Vandana Koryami, Shabara Charan. And it's saying, I offer my obeisances to the very amazing Vaishnavas of the past. But the even more interesting part is I also offer my obeisances to the Vaishnavas who will exist in the future. And this is the great mystery of spiritual life, right? Especially in the West. We've become very jaded because we see all of these dark things in Kali Yuga. We see all of these horrible kind of expressions of what humanity can do as it falls apart, right? We see all of the cheating and the anger and the frustration and the sadness. But this idea that there's actually a saintly person that exists, this is actually the real miracle, right? And so we don't even know what our part to play is inside of the big journey through time, right? Maybe we can even offer some assistance where in the future we have obeisances that are going to the Vaishnavas, right? So this idea of this book, Sri Guru and His Grace, that's coming from Srila Guru Maharaj, right? And we're trying to live in the word vibrations of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev and their heartfelt disciples. That's what we're trying to do. They're expressing something very profound. And they're saying, you are a soul on a journey with a desperation for something real. And when that desperation is strong enough, when we're finally calling out for a little bit of help in our dark existence, then some guru will come to you. And this is an amazing miracle, actually, that a guru can come to you. And we think it's not possible that there could be anyone pure, that there could be anyone that can give their heart, that wants good for you, that doesn't want anything in return. Because everything in the exploitive world, it's full of a game. And what that game does is it stops you from being able to participate. You don't get to see what's happening while you're playing this game. So they're saying what's happening is beautiful. God is beautiful. Reality is beautiful. The source of reality is beautiful. And sometimes beautiful people come and they give you a little window into something else. And because there's something beautiful inside of you, you're hungry for that. And that's the verse that's on the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Guru Maharaj. And it is the back of the cover of the book of Search for Sri Krishna. It says, "Oh, you sons of nectar in the oceans, sons of the nectarine ocean sea. You are born in nectar. You are born to taste nectar, and you won't be satisfied by anything but nectar," right? So what is the gap between this beautiful nectar, who I am really, and this strange world that I find myself in? And in that gap, despite ourselves meaning we've got all these fantasies of what we think spiritual life is. We have all the fantasies of what we think a spiritualist is. But in that gap of where we are and where we want to be, there's the guru. And this is the most hopeful news that we could ever have. And then all the fantasies can go away, right? Because in a certain sense, until you come into contact with someone that's actually very open-hearted, you think it's not possible that someone can be open-hearted. It's not possible that someone can want something good for me like that, really. And that's the shadow of the material energy, we could say. We think that it's not possible that there's someone who has a pure ideal who wants to live for God. And so we have this amazing uh, window from the mercy of like the beautiful, wonderful hearts of these sadhus. And it's just actually spiritual life moves from heart to heart to heart, and it always will. It will always move from the heart of one devotee to another, right? Because we are only here because of someone's kind heart, right? So Rupa Goswami, he's a kind heart. Jiva Goswami, he is a kind heart. And then think about it. What is Guru Maharaj saying about Mahaprabhu himself? He's saying infinity means the source of unlimited universes, of unlimited realities, of unlimited fantastic things that are beyond our imagination. He is infinity in distribution form. Distribution means he is giving, right? He is giving to the fallen souls despite themselves, right? And so then we have this kind of amazing debt of gratitude. Every book that we read, that's coming from the words of the Vaishnava, right? Every song that we sing is coming from the heart of the Vaishnava. Every kind of lecture, everything that the prasadam that we eat, some sweethearted devotee cooked that prasadam. You know, something's going on where we're interacting with this very beautiful world. And that was not our idea. And so this is laying the amazing premise. This is like putting forth this amazing hopeful premise. And where is it coming from? It's coming from Srila Gurudev and from Srila Guru Maharaj, and then distributing beyond. And I can just say, like on a personal note, it's very amazing actually to see the types of devotees that came to Srila Govinda Maharaj. That is something that was unimaginable, that there are people from every walk of life, some people practically homeless, and some people like wealthy beyond belief. And each of them is getting some caring attention and feeling some movement inside. And I remember one time when I was going to India, and I had been to India many times since I was a young child. And it was the first time I was taking a child to India. And so I was very nervous about just the amount of travel time from the United States to get to India can sometimes be like 35, 40 hours just traveling nonstop with a little baby. And I was thinking like, I was like feeling my mind getting worried. So we flew to India and we woke up and went, because we're jet lagging. It's exactly the opposite time of day in the United States and in India. And it's like 3:30 in the morning. And we went, and Srila Gurudev was speaking to the devotees, and there was like maybe like 35, 40 people sitting in the room very early. And it was a Beta Acharya's appearance day. And so there was a lecture that was happening, and Srila Gurudev started speaking all of these different things. And one devotee from Hawaii was recording it at the time. And while Srila Gurudev is speaking, I started to feel all of these kind of shadows in my mind going away. And I didn't even know that I had all of those shadows in my own thoughts. They weren't even conscious thoughts of like doubt or this or that, just feeling like I'm in the presence of someone that's very divine. And then I started thinking like we would just fly these 40 hours just for this 1 hour. What am I even worrying? It's already more, we've already received way more than we could have expected, right? We keep on like, it's like already just any single book, any kind of we've already receiving more than we could hope for in the dark kind of material energy where everything's out to be exploiting and playing a game. Already just this kind of window into something else is more than we could expect or hope for. But then Srila Gurudev, he had this kind of habit that many people speak about where he would be in the middle of a conversation and he would be speaking, and then he would give direct eye contact to someone while he's speaking. And it very much felt that he was not only speaking to the greater audience, but it was kind of going into you. It was like this very unusual thing. And when you talk to lots of people, they also express this same kind of thing. There's this broad moment, there's 30, 50, 100 people in the room, but then he says something and you feel it kind of going into you. And so as he's speaking, he goes, and our karma is coming for us. And then he looked directly in my eyes and he goes, and not to fear that. And I felt this like, oh, because, so much of this world is, the ego and the mind, they're very much consumed with control, right? So what they want is for everything to be kind of like staying safe, so to speak. And because there's unlimited variables that we can't control, then we feel anxiety, fear, anger, frustration. All of these things are coming from this inability to control. And what does it come from? I think I'm the center and everything needs to happen how I'm thinking. This is the glory of the devotional practice, where I'm in reference to something and I adjust myself to this wonderful, sweet center of reality. And so Gurudev was saying, our karma is coming for us and not to fear that. And so many times over the years, this has kind of come to my mind. And then even beyond that, because there's a positive reality to what this idea is. There's an old article in Gaudiya Darshan by Srila Saraswati Thakur. And he's talking about the verse from Mahaprabhu that is coming to Krishna, that he offers to Krishna right after the Brahma Vimohana Leela. And so just for the smallest bit of context, it's Brahma, the ultimate quantum being, creator of the known universe, guru of the sampradaya that we are in, a most wonderful personality that if we would ever be in proximity, that we would assuredly offer our obeisances, such an amazing person. He becomes bewildered by who the infinite is, and he starts to offer these beautiful prayers. And they're in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. They're very beautiful. But the 7th or 8th verse is Tate Nukampam Shushamikshamano Bunjana Evatma Kritam Vipakam. And so in Saraswati Thakur's illumination on this verse, he says, karma is prashadam. And so I was thinking, karma is prashadam. So often we associate karma with this very dark thing of all of the things that I have invited are coming back to me. They are coming and they're going to take me down and I have to suffer because I have invited all of these things. But this idea of karma is prashadam. Prashadam is translated to grace, right? And we even hear Srila Guru Maharaj saying, if we can enter into the prashadam conception, then we can become free. So this idea of the prashadam conception, it starts, yes, the prashadam, we are offering the food that we have to the Lord, and what we take is transforming, because we're first checking in with the center before we try and make our way in the world, right? So prashadam is getting offered. But this prashadam conception, and then to say karma is prashadam, that means there's something affectionate that's coming inside of this karma. And it is not coming from an empty place, right? And so there's these examples that says, we don't know the upper world, but they know us. We are unaware of them, but they are aware of us. And there are certain things that can be cultivated in the heart that are so arresting that they will start to capture the attention of the upper world. And those things that are so beautiful and arresting are not going to be our beauty, our pride, our math, our intellectual, what is our intellectual pursuit in comparison with the infinite, right? So maybe we dominate some tiny subject, but even if we wanted to talk about ants or chimpanzees, we don't know so much. So what is this substance that's so beautiful that has the ability to capture the attention of the upper world? And this is the glory of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj, as they are singing the glory of surrender. They're singing that, and it surrenders so beautiful. Sharanagati is so beautiful that it has the ability to capture the attention of the upper world. And then instead of running away from the karma that's coming for us for sure, and feeling afraid and feeling that we need to manipulate all the things to escape once again the things that are coming to us, there's this offering. You are giving me what I need to go through, and I want to become what you want me to become. And there's deep purpose in everything. This is what's so exciting and practical about spiritual life. And this is what's coming from Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. Living your real life, seeing God in every moment. Srila Guru Maharaj says, for the divine person, they will see for the spiritual person, they will see divine purpose in whether the wind blows the grass to the left or to the right, which is such an amazing thing, that everything can be full of purpose, that everything can be profound, and that nothing is outside of the whole, right? This is also like this holistic world that Guru Maharaj and Gurudev are living inside. And that's why we got to see different kinds of devotees come to Srila Gurudev, right? Because it's holistic. They came with their heart. He wasn't just like compressing people to all look the same and act the same and be the same. Something unique is in you, and you have some contribution to make that's different than someone else does. And the process is dismantling this kind of selfish, game-like relationship with reality. Yeah, it's manipulative. It's all of the things that are not, we don't have to even go into too much detail. You don't need to be super intellectual to be able to see these things. We live in kind of a dark time. And so then you go, okay, I live in this dark time, and is it possible that there's someone saintly? And we're saying, yes, it's possible. And then Srila Guru Maharaj says this very beautiful sentence, one of my favorite sentences in all of sermons. He says, speaking the stories of the Vaishnavas will enhance our faith. And he goes, they are standing like pillars of faith, affirming that this is possible. That's why we remember them, among many things, right? Among many things. But that's why remembrance is considered one of the spiritual practices. Because why? We're in a state of forgetfulness. Some strange, shadowy forgetfulness of who we really are, what reality really is, who the Lord is, who his servitors are, all sorts of things of so many layers of forgetfulness are permeating everything. And so what do we say to the person we come into contact with that illuminates us to another world, right? We don't just say like, oh, thank you, we try to offer our lives in response to that. Right. So all of you here are also that like glorious reflection of having a beautiful ideal that has been given to us, and we hope it's like the ultimate long game, right? It's not just for like couple months or couple years or something, but we're saying ad infinitum, that we hope to offer ourselves into that dedicating world, right? That someone was so kind to me, right? Like some feeling like that, you're going, oh, now I understand some idea of what mercy means, and so Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj are unique. If you can follow all different kinds of philosophy, you can listen to all different kinds of philosophy, anything that's modern, and we live in a time where you have access to quite a few different thoughts. So it's like, okay, you can explore all the things that are occurring, and you can still find that Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev have an absolutely amazing, relevant, and hopeful perspective on how to proceed in your real life. And so that's very exciting, actually, to think that in 2023, there can be something I can attempt to practice that can give me some transformation, and I can become a little less gross than I was the day before, and try to transform myself and hear about these glorious devotees and their kindness. gives a little bit of energy to carry on the path. So I hope that was helpful.
Thank you very much for this inspiration. I hope the devotees happy. And we have a question also from Radha Raman and Narayani. Друзья, вы могли бы сами голосом задать ваши вопросы? I'm asking that they asking the questions personally. Так будет больше контакта сердец.
Dandavad, dear Kishori, Sudarshan Prabhu, we remember you and want to see you again in Ukraine in festival and super kirtan. And my question is, what is the best way, in your opinion, what touches people's hearts in preaching and inspires them to come to the Guru, to the spiritual practice? Thank you.
Oh, that's a very interesting
I'll
question.
start. And
Yeah,
okay.
please.
My experience is a couple things. It's very, very important, in my opinion, to be authentic. So you must share what is giving you energy in your life. And I find that that is very important when you're speaking with someone. Why are you attempting the impossible road every day, right? So impossible road meaning we're talking about we want to try and offer ourselves to the infinite source of reality. We want to have a relationship with infinity, right? And so actually, and we're very, very selfish, very covered, very, very fallen people, right? Like it's very complicated. So every day we open our eyes and we realize we're still in this body. And immediately the mind goes on to like autopilot of like all the stuff you need to do, right? It's like all the things and, oh, what if this doesn't happen and this happens and this, all these things. So all of these kind of selfish inputs. And then at the same time, there's something in you attempting for something. And they say, actually, it's practically impossible to do this journey. But because it's who you are, you're hungry for it. So it's both, the tension is very strong on it's impossible, but it's who you are. And actually the Lord is like the source of all divine love, and you're only going to be satisfied by love. So actually, like you can't not do this journey at the same time, right? So it's very, very tense. And there's going to be different chapters of what that means in your life. And sometimes it's a soft chapter, and sometimes it's a very heavy chapter. And they all have illuminations inside of them that are helpful on the path. But when we try to share what is really saving us in our spiritual life, people will start to resonate with that. Very oftentimes, like when we're actively reading and we read something and we're going, and it starts to hit you, you can start to feel, oh, I'm reading this chapter of Srila Guru Maharaj, and it's like going in, it's absolutely amazing. This is soul food. And then we try to share that soul food, whatever we're excited about. Then oftentimes people will respond and say, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm so grateful. I really am so happy that I got to hear that. There's something that's going on. And sometimes people will ask a question and I'll pray. I'm like, okay, what should I say? You don't actually have an answer exactly. And you're going, okay, let me try and help to whatever extent, I can to assist this person. Would Gurudev be happy with this answer? Would Guru Maharaj be happy with this answer? And just kind of praying for a moment, passing it through something else and then trying to answer that person's question. Yeah. And then lastly, the last thing is the more that we go to the core of what we're trying to practice, the more amazing it is, right? And I can just say for me, somehow or other, like the Kirtan Guide is one of my favorite all-time books. Those prayers are absolutely amazing, and they showcase what a real prayer is. So oftentimes, just in Salt Lake City, if we're reading a kirtan, we read the English or the translation after, just like we sing the song and we read the translation and discuss it for a little bit, because there's so much affection in those kirtans. They're teaching us what is a prayer, what this mood can mean towards the Lord, what kind of humility can be inside of the heart of a devotee, you know, and so many wonderful things. And we think maybe someone doesn't want to hear that kind of prayer because the songbook is dramatic, right? Some of those sentiments are like, I have died twice because I've wasted my life in material indulgence, and and I'm at the end of my, they're heavy. And I've oftentimes seen people where they resonate with it. They go, oh yeah, this is true. Yeah, I do waste some of my time. I'm not quite as authentic as I'd like to say that I am, stuff like that. So anyways, I hope that's helpful.
Nice.
And
Yeah. For me, it's, we have to be aware that we're not trying to market something. This isn't like a business marketing challenge. This is authentic spiritual life that is acquainting people with reality. One time Srila Guru Maharaj asked a group of sannyasis who were in front of him, what is Krishna consciousness? And, so many different answers were given. What Srila Prabhupada told us, that is what Krishna consciousness is, et cetera, like that. And Guru Maharaj was accepting everything. But what he said is, Krishna consciousness is reality. And you would do well to acquaint yourself with it. So we're not trying to convince someone's mind through like a marketing or a manipulation. This is an authentic sharing of what is the necessity of everyone. We have to connect with Krishna. We have to be conscious of Krishna is the truth. And if you actually can get one drop of that in your life, then everything is a revolution. Everything's changed. So it's really, offering ourselves to be utilized by Nityananda, Mahaprabhu, and their servitors, their parshadas. And to the extent that we may be utilized, then maybe we can share something. But it really is an honest transaction, and a sort of our best try to share with others what it is that we have been given and what it is that we have been able to connect with. And ultimately, there isn't anything else to do in life. We have all this stuff, but there's one thing to do in life, and it's to try to become conscious of Krishna, because that is reality. And we're meant to live in reality and in relationship with reality. So, express that with as much honesty and sincerity as we can muster. And whatever happens is okay.
It's interesting too that it's almost when you are so, oh, sorry, I don't know if someone's trying to, but you're so like genuinely excited about the main thing, and you're trying to share this thing that you find so wonderful. And you'll find that people automatically are also kind of like searching for that. And it's then whether the room has 3 people in it or 300 people in it, it doesn't matter anymore, right? We have sometimes programs on a weekday in Salt Lake, it's just a couple people, but they're so happy to be there, and you feel so happy to be there because you're talking about your favorite thing. And then also just as easily, it can be completely full. There's nowhere to sit in the temple room, and everyone's kind of like squishing in. And so then also then you feel happy because you're sharing what is in your heart, not just so that there's a large group of people or so that it's some kind of thing like that. And that's also feels a little freeing for you. Then you don't have to worry about the numbers so much. I think that can also be a little helpful.
Nice, thank you. And we have a question from Radha Raman, Prabhu. Radha Raman, сможешь спросить голосом?
Dandavas,
Govinda
Prabhu.
land.
Dandavats to everyone. Glad to see you. My question is, how can you explain what is it Sri Krishna Seva and Sri Guru Seva? How you understand these things?
Yeah, it's a deep question.
Yeah, deep question.
You want me to- Yeah, it's a very deep question. In Sri Guru's grace, there's an explanation given of a very beautiful verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Sakshad haritvena samasta shastre ruktasta bhavate eva sadbhi kintu prabhorya priya eva tasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. And it illuminates a mystery because that verse is saying the guru is representing Krishna and he is the most beloved of Krishna. So in a sense, when we read Sri Guru and his grace, we understand that Guru is coming to us as the representation of the Lord. The Lord's mercy, the Lord is giving his mercy to us. And the Guru is the channel for that mercy, right? So in that sense, Sakshad Hari, he is Hari. Because he is carrying that channel of the Lord's mercy and that spiritual rope that's come down to pull us out of the ocean of ignorance. But at the same time, he is a devotee. Kintu prabhorya priya eva tasa. Priya means the most dear, the most beloved of the Lord. So at the same time, the Guru is representing Krishna, and at the same time, he's representing Radha, the most dear form of the Lord. And so, in one sense, when we're serving Guru, we're serving Krishna. But then as our spiritual life advances, then we become a little more refined. We understand that, Krishna and Radha. And in the line of Mahaprabhu, this is more and more and more refined. That, ultimately, and we can read, Srila Guru Maharaj's purports of the Chatur Shloki and Bhagavad Gita. Everything ultimately is pointing toward the service of Srimati Radharani. And to serve the devotee and to serve that energy is the highest thing possible within existence. Sri Radha Dasyam. So, in one sense, we're seeing the Guru as Krishna, but in an even higher sense, we're seeing the Guru as the representing the service energy, the camp of Srimati Radharani. So when we see the Guru in that way, then we can see actually the Vaishnava as his own individual. Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, they're all their own individual souls come to take a particular form to help us. In the service of Krishna, they're coming. But in the deeper sense, their identity is in the service of Sri Radha. And to know the Vaishnava on that level, that's a very, very deep thing.
Another thing that came to my mind is something that Srila Guru Maharaj talks about often is to try not to be in the fantasy of our spiritual life. And what that means is we can create like a magical kind of world of what we think God wants. But what we are told in the scriptures is whatever we think he is, he's not that, right? Like it's beyond the mind. What you want to connect with is beyond your mind. So this idea, we have to be very cautious of this idea of directly serving the Lord. And Gaudiya Vaishnavism is very clear on there's a path through the Vaishnava. It's a particular mood of illumination that the whole line is worshiping. So we have maybe the fantasy of what we think Krishna wants. And maybe we're so fortunate that it will become very clear what our service is. It's possible. Anything's possible on the journey to the infinite. That being said, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev are always kind of showing us what's the safe path. What's the quick strategy where there's less energy loss? You'll hear Guru Maharaj say that a lot, where he's saying there's less friction if you do this, right? He's saying if you can start to have humility in your heart, it's going to cause your path to be smoother, right? So this idea of the guru takes us away from the fantasy of spiritual life. This is the great glory of guru and also community. If we find ourselves, right, because we can have the fantasy of how many things we've realized on our own, and then we go into a group of people and we can find our mind immediately becomes disturbed, right? This person's not doing this right. That person acted inappropriate, and all these things. It's so strange. And so what does that do? It's very helpful. It lets us know where we are at. Oh, I'm not maybe like quite where I thought I was. I may be a little bit here. And so the other thing that's very amazing is sometimes we can even get this inverse in our mind. Oh, I'm so tired and I just can't do something for someone else again. But really, devotees don't want anything from someone else. They really don't. They are all, if you say, oh, you're so amazing, they're going to say, it's coming from my guru. You're going to give them some energy, some money, some this. They're going to take it and give it to the temple, give it to the Lord, give it to the devotees. So it's very difficult to serve the Vaishnava. In fact, the Lord himself is trying to serve the Vaishnava and not always successful. So now you can see how valuable, if we get the opportunity in one lifetime to try and serve a Vaishnava, it's very hard. The Lord himself is trying to do this. So if we ever have an opportunity to serve Guru, Vaishnava, we can see that this is actually the supreme good fortune that's come to us. And we can tell exactly where we're at. If we're feeling isolated, we know that we're in an ego state. It's easy, right? If we're starting to feel everyone around us is terrible, Guru Maharaj's own words in sermons, he goes, you think everyone around you is so bad and that you are so wonderful? Don't be so, what is he? Don't be so foolish.
Selfish.
Don't be so selfish thinking. So we can take that in ourselves if we're seeing everyone around us with a lens of all the little things that we think they need to do to connect with God in some kind of way without a service mood, then it just lets us know where we're at, maybe not even where they're at. But if we get an opportunity to serve the Vaishnavas, the Guru, whether it's from so many thousands of miles away, whether it's right in close proximity, this is the great mercy of our lives, actually. And for sure, we're just trying to become givers. And we don't need to worry necessarily where it's like, exactly who am I giving to? It's like, Guru Maharaj's words, he said, first, you take your hand and you try to pick up sand on the ground and you let that sand flow in the wind. And he goes, and if you can't pick up sand and flow it in the wind, then you take your fist and you start to open your hand. Just start to get used to this thing of trying to become a contributor to reality. You want to see or learn about anyone, you're going to have to learn how to give to them. You see a beautiful family and you just think, how can they do something for me? You'll never know that family. They're saying reality is a person, right? These are real people. And we only get to know them when we transform our consciousness. And in fact, I remember hearing a lecture to Srila Guru Maharaj. They said, in the country that I'm in, it's not very favorable for practicing Krishna consciousness. Should I still be humble? And Guru Maharaj's answer was, you will never be the loser by being humble, right? Like you're not going to be less than you were before. The only thing that's going to fall away is some shadow. And so we can start to, like, we want to try and become participants in the world of contribution, right? To dance in the world of contribution. So I hope that's helpful.
I am sure that it will help. And we have a question from Narayani. I'm sure that this question is a question of very not only Narayani, much devotees like asking this question. And Narayani, please.
This is me again. Our devotees and often think that it is possible to practice seriously spiritual practice only in the temple or alone and afraid relationship, really. But you are the example of married couple who is height example for us. And please share the secrets of your spiritual practice together.
Well, should I start?
Sure.
Yes, I'll come to you. So it comes down to your holistic life. There is no one that cannot become a devotee, no matter their situation in life. Mahaprabhu said, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Kane Noy, Say Krishna Tattvaveti, Say Guru Hoy. That means, Vipra means like a high Brahmin, like a high Brahmin. Nyasi means someone who's renouncing the world. Shudra means a worker. Mahaprabhu is saying it doesn't matter whether you're a Vipra, a Nyasi, or a Shudra. What matters is, can you know Krishna? So, you know, that sentence that Raikishori said, you're good, all around you is bad, and leaving everything and everyone, that will give you real joy. Don't be so selfish thinking. This is quoting from Srila Guru Maharaj in sermons. But the next sentence in that paragraph is, all our situations in life occur by His grace. Prashad. Grace means prashad. All our situations in life occur by His grace. So as our life evolves, you know, sometimes many things change and sometimes you end up married. But that's okay. You have to be a devotee. You're single, you have to be a devotee. You're married, you have to be a devotee. You're kind of in between, you have to be a devotee. That's sorry, just.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. When Guru Maharaj is saying our situation in life is occurring by His grace, it means we're not the controller of reality. If everything, I don't know if anyone on this call has any like experience with quantum physics, but if you understand how many variables need to, like, you know, it's not the absolute truth, but it does give you an indication. There are trillions and trillions and trillions of synchronicities that need to happen for your nail on your finger to continue to exist. It's like impossible, but it's happening. So all our situations in life occur by His grace. That means what we're going through is Krishna's mercy. And it's necessary for our spiritual life. So not only is it not bad, it's necessary. I need to be married, right? Because sometimes you say, well, you got married. Oh, now that's easy. It's like, well, maybe not Always so easy. But this is also his grace. And his mercy is contained with progressing through that situation. And everyone has a situation in front of them that they have to progress through. And the ego saying, no, I want to go back, or I want to go around. I want to go around it. No, you have to go through it. That's the grace of the Lord. So your life is also your spiritual life. And so, you know, when we think about, okay, we're married, we have kids and all these things, there's joys and there's challenges, just like any other stage of life. But the main thing is to be Krishna conscious, because everything is coming as his mercy. And there's some service, there's some contribution, there's some necessity that I am in this situation and she is in this situation and you are in your situation. There's some service to be given. So no running away anymore. We're devotees. We don't run away anymore. We go through it. We offer ourselves to Krishna, no matter what situation we're in.
There's a quote from Srila Guru Maharaj. He says, humility is being open to infinite possibility. And over the years, I've been kind of collecting quotes on humility because it's one of the first limbs of surrender, Sharanagati, that is spoken about. And another definition of humility is that which I don't know is more important than that which I do know. Humility can also mean I am in proximity to something wonderful. There's a posture of humility, and it doesn't just mean this kind of person who's getting run over. It's some type of openness and some type of lens onto ourselves. And it will release the mind from the never-ending judgment. And when we're in a relationship with someone, it does not matter whether we're married to them, whether we're their mother, whether we're their father, or whether it's a friend. There's never-ending judgment that's kind of happening, right? But we don't know who someone is, right? Otherwise, why do you hear these strange stories where people are married for a long time? They're like, you don't even know me, right? Well, because knowing someone's kind of complicated, right? Because we don't know us, right? We don't know who the very firmament of reality is, and we don't really know who we are. So we're kind of really in a strange situation. So this idea that there's humility that will start to start to take away some of these judgments, because sometimes when we're dealing with our child or someone else's child, that's the other thing about community. You can have so many children that are in your care. And you don't know what's in that child's heart. You don't know that maybe it's the great grandson of that child who has some service that's very important. We don't know what our part to play is in anything, right? And we don't even actually get to judge ourselves because we're not even very good at estimating whether we're very spiritual or not very spiritual. So we're trying to just move into this kind of giving, right? And then you're going, and there's no one that you're going to meet, no one that you'll meet that doesn't have some very serious obstacle actually that's in front of them right now, right? People that are married think, oh, remember the days when you were single and it was easy. And people that are single, like, oh, you're so lucky you have that figured out. And someone else might have a serious health problem. Someone else might have a family member you don't have to scratch very hard to find something really difficult that's going on in people's lives. This is really, really true. And how do we proceed forward through all of these difficulties? And what they're saying, what Guru Maharaj is saying is there's actually a pathway where it's the one root of the one tree that feeds everything else. and you'll see reflections of it all the way through. Like when you read about the mystics from any faith, you don't see massive judgments. You see kind of like this idea of like mercy falls. It's like rain doesn't judge whether it's the cement or the garden or the house or the roof. It's just falling, right? So they're like in the songs of the songbook, they're saying, you know, I'm in the forest fire of my material senses, but I'm appealing to you. So there's something where we're being called in any kind of relationship to have humility, tolerance, and give honor to others. And we're not going to really get an authentic spiritual life until we practice it. And it sounds very beautiful and very simple until we feel our ego explode. And then we realize how profound these principles are, particularly tolerance, right? Tolerance means something's occurring, some weight I'm being asked to bear. And then what are they saying? Some revelation will come to you if you can try and practice this, but it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay. There's nobody that's married that won't have a little taste of tolerance, because that's what egos like to do, is make each other suffer. But the suffering is purposeful and there's revelation inside of it. And you might actually learn something, because the lesson, there's a very nice quote by this mystic, his name's Khalil Gibran, but he said, the pain that you feel is the cracking of your understanding, right? So the situation is as whatever it needs to crack open this calcified sense of self that I have, right? And then there's like a very nice sentence that Abhinava Sundar from Australia says often, where he says, like, make space for grace. Like, why are we always forgetting that there's something else that's alive, right? We keep on thinking, like, if I just did this, it's like, oh, there's actually the Supreme Lord is alive. The devotees are like, this is a whole alive process, right? So we can we don't have to solve it all. We're just trying to offer ourselves in every moment continuously and adjust to something else. So, you know, they sound very glamorous, but they can be a little ugly in the actual practice, as ugly as we are. And that's the real kind of like uncensored version. But what I would say is, that's the only authentic life you want anyway. Because, and there was a very nice quote I read recently. It says, humility makes us real, right? So if we want to become real and we want to learn what is reality, and then even more deep than that, what is reality, the beautiful, right? And we want to have real relationships with reality and with the people that we know. And we want to go on that epic journey of self-transformation and offering.
Yeah, it was a very deep spiritual trip in the reality.
Haribo. Jai Gurudev.
Our our time has passed, and I feel that so much you can give to devotees more, and I hope that we will meet with you again. Narayani will write you, and please
Narayani, we missed you.
say something. What you say something what you desire to devotees.
What we desire for devotees.
Desire for devotees? Is that it?
So, something like blessings, some what you
Oh,
can say to devotees
that's sweet.
for their inspiration.
Jai.
First and foremost, my affectionate obeisances to all of you. And well, my heartfelt wishes that you what my advice to Narayani was, share what makes you excited And I hope to share what you will feel that what makes me excited. And it's the words of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. And of course, there's many followers that also have those touches in their heart. We can say we're going online, we go around the world, we go to so many temples because we're all desperately searching for that thing of the heart. And they are real, and they are to be found, and they are most kind. So the message is very hopeful and very wonderful. There is so much goodness, actually, right? God is actually good and more than good, and all of the things that we could ever say and then still fall short. God is kind, God is wonderful, God is sweet, God is affectionate. All of these things. He's our best friend. Right? This is like the greatest hope.
And Guru Maharaj says, and this will be my parting words, because everyone has to remember this. The Lord is the designer of your destiny.
Mm.
And he loves you more than you love yourself. So find his will in each moment and surrender. Your heart, home, is so close to you. The Lord loves you more than you love yourself. Find him. Hare Krishna, Jai Gurudev.
Jai. Maybe Sudarshan Prabhu also can add something.
I mean, that's the main thing I want to say, that we have to ultimately, our whole path is leading to Sharanagati. All the intellectualism, all the philosophy, the unbelievably beautiful universal worldview, everything is leading to Sharanagati. And Sharanagati means, Sharana means home. And Agati means come. This is what this word means. It means come home. Your soul has a home soil. We're trying to manipulate the world. It's not ours to manipulate. We have to simply love the Lord and love his devotees and surrender. Let the Lord's will come and find our service, Sharanagati. And that is where it is all leading. And we can practice Sharanagati right this minute and tomorrow and next month. And the world can become very alive in a very different place. Our consciousness will change. Everything is Sharanagati. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori. Mahaprabhu feeling so much mercy toward the Jiva souls. Jive Daya Kori. Swaparshada Sriya Dhamma Sahaya Avatari. Atyanta Durlabha Prem Koribare Dan. Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran. And it's saying Mahaprabhu descended with his associates and he came to teach Sharanagati. It is everything. It is the thing. So come home. Find the soil of your home. It's so close. And find the Lord in your life. Jai Shri Gurudev.
Jai.
Jai. Thank you very much. Our gratitude to that you give this time to devotees, and waiting good times when we can meet you, not
Yes.
digital,
Yes.
and digital reality.
Jai.
Please also give our aboves to devotees like you.
And
Yes.
I don't know who the interpreter, it says Bhakti Online Interpreter. So kindly thank you for translating at the same time. Anyways,
Raja Sundari.
Braja Sundari, amazing. And Shama Priya
And
and Saraswati. Anyways, all the devotees, please accept our dandavats. And we hope joyously to see you sometime soon if we have such good fortune.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Sudarshan Prabhu, Jai Raikishori, Didi, Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Jai.
Thank you.